Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here. On my way home, my car is talking to me. In the Corvette, in rush hour traffic. So, good time to make a video, right? And for those of you who will say it, and I know you will, I am watching the road. In this kind of traffic, if you don't watch the road, you might have a problem. Anyway, I want to get on here and talk about daily driving the Corvette. What is it like? What is it like to daily drive a Vet? Now, I've had this for, not too long. Maybe a month, maybe a little more. But I do daily drive it here and there. So I think I have a good idea at this point of what it's like. So there's kind of two components to this, maybe three. The first, I guess, is walking out and seeing it in the morning. Now, when you get a car like this, you get it obviously because you kind of have a little love affair with the Corvette. You know, I've had it for most of my life, actually. Just never bought one until recently, and I am not disappointed. You know, when you come out in the garage in the morning and you've decided that that's the vehicle that you're going to take, you know, you look at it, it's sitting over there, it's all shiny and pretty and curvy and gorgeous, and you just can't wait to get in it. You know, it makes you feel good. It really does. It feels good just to look at it, and then to know that you're going to take that vehicle for the day, if you know what I mean. Those of you who love cars, I'm sure you'll understand what I'm saying, what I mean by that. Excuse me. So, appearance, just taking the car out, that is absolutely fantastic. So, once you get beyond that, of course, and you get in the car and you're actually moving, the first thing, and this isn't necessarily a positive, is getting in the car. I mean, it is low. It is rather tight to get into from the outside as compared to any normal sedan or hatchback or truck or SUV for that matter. So that is one little negative you have, but you have that with any sports car. They're typically low to the ground and they're typically tight inside, part of what makes them a sports car. So that's kind of a picky thing, I guess. But once you get in it, it's one of the most comfortable cars I've ever had. You can adjust the seats to how you like them, the bolstering, the lower lumbar support, upper shoulders. I mean, the seat has a million adjustments on it, so you can really get it the way that you want it. Padding in the seat is just right. It just feels fantastic. So, from a daily driver standpoint, it's comfortable. It's comfortable to get in once you're in and drive. As far as the driving experience itself, well, I mean, it's a Corvette, right? It's got loads of horsepower. I mean, when you're on the freeway or the entrance ramps or trying to move around to jockey for position, as a lot of us out here are doing right now, you've got the power to do that. You've got the handling to do that. And it makes it really fun to drive. I mean, even in rush hour traffic, it makes it fun to drive. If you feel in the mood to zigzag in and out and around, in a safe way, of course, this car will do that. If you just want to sit back and have a nice, relaxing ride, it'll do that too. This car also has both heated and cooled seats, so depending on the weather outside and what you feel like, you always have a comfortable ride. There's no reason to be hot or cold in this car. Visibility, it's not too bad. It is much better than you would think, much better than I thought. I thought there'd be a huge blind spot in the C-pillars in the back, but there really isn't. At least no more than any other sports car I've ever had. and I'm comparing it primarily to the Porsche Boxster and the Caymans that I've had. So it was a good surprise for me. I kind of thought might be an issue, you know, moving around in traffic because of blind spots, but I don't really notice that in the car. Parking wise, you know, other than hating to park the car and leave it anywhere, although where you work should be a pretty safe place to leave your car, I would hope. But it's never fun to leave it parked anywhere, of course. You always worry about it, as you would any car that you really like. Doesn't have to be a sports car. I'm kind of the same with any of my vehicles, really. But especially the Corvette, you know. And for me, it's funny. I don't even necessarily concern myself with other people, but where I park, there are birds. So it even concerns me about birds being over my car, if you know what I mean. It's crazy things, right? Fuel economy. If you're concerned about fuel economy, this car right now, and let me take a look here, is getting average 24.1 miles to the gallon. Not too bad for a V8 with 455-ish horsepower. Pretty darn good. The best I've gotten in this is 27.9. I don't know how I managed that. Obviously, it's not one of the hyper mileage cars that you can get today. Even the Honda Civic Sport that I have is getting 39 miles a gallon. So obviously, we're 15 miles per gallon or so below that. But I think when you go out and you get a car like this, you know, fuel economy is probably not your main concern. It wasn't mine, so I'm okay with that. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that it gets as good as it does, especially in some of the traffic that I have to drive in. Like right now is just stop and start. It'll be that way pretty much the whole way home. So that cannot help in fuel consumption for sure. And it's the same way in the mornings. So just the way it is, I guess. If you're a person that needs to haul a lot of stuff daily, I don't know, maybe a salesperson or I don't know, you have some need that you have to haul things back and forth from work, there is a little bit of room in it. There is a little bit of space back there behind me. I don't know how well you can see. You could put a briefcase or two or three or a couple small pieces of luggage or whatever. Obviously, you're not going to fit tons of stuff in here. There really is very little storage otherwise within the driving area of the car. It does have a glove box and a very, very shallow center console. Not a lot of room to put stuff, I guess, or haul stuff. So, but again, if you're driving a sports car, you probably didn't get it because you wanted to haul stuff, you know. Some people I know have talked about golf clubs. You might be able to fit a set of golf clubs in here. You might have to take the longer clubs out and put them beside you in the passenger seat. But I think it could be done, or you just play without that day. The only other thing, I suppose, is, and this is kind of strange, I'll admit, but attention. This car and all Corvettes, I think, garner a lot of attention. I know mine does particularly. There isn't a time go by, I guess, that people aren't looking. I've had people take pictures. It does stand out a lot. So I guess if you're the type of person that, you know, that makes uneasy, you know, if you don't want to draw a lot of attention, this car is probably not for you. Especially if you go with some of the more eye-catching colors, I guess, like the yellow, for example. The yellow really stands out. But this car in general is gonna draw a lot of eyes anyway, just for what it is. So might not be for you if that's a concern. How would I rate it as a daily driver? Wow, I'd have to give it probably a 9.8. Let's go 9.8. And that, again, is for those of you like myself who want a sports car. If you're a truck person or a fuel economy person, obviously a 9.8 probably wouldn't really be a good scale for you. But for what I wanted, and in the sports car world, and I've had a few, this is the best that I've had. Just a joy to drive. For years, you know, I had looked for a car that when you got in it, you kind of felt like you were one with the car, if that makes any sense at all. That's kind of been the main thing that I have been striving for, really, in any car for several years now, trying to find a car that I kind of feel one with, if that makes sense. And again, I'll point that at all you car guys out there. You'll know what I mean. Anyway, just wanted to get on here, talk about that a little bit. It makes a great daily driver. I love it. Glad I got it. Best one I've ever had. As usual, please click subscribe if you haven't before. Let me know what you think. What is the car that you are one with? I'll see you next time on the web. Have a good night. Bye.